What happened? Mueller removed him after a discovery of texts in which Strzok and a colleague, Lisa Page, who served on Mueller's team until July, were reacting to current events in ways that could be construed as critical of the president. He's been reassigned to the Human Resources Department of the FBI. Per Washington Post, defenders of Page and Strzok insisted the issue is overblown and that there was no misconduct between the two. The cryptorocket shot past $11,000 this week, just hours after eclipsing $10,000, which itself was mere days after pushing past $9,000. It then slid sharply before surging yet again. Now Wall Street is about to join in the fun. On Friday, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission green-lighted plans by the CME and the Chicago Board Options Exchange to introduce Bitcoin futures. Nasdaq is planning to offer its own futures next year, while Cantor Fitzgerald will introduce a Bitcoin options product. Why it matters getting listed on some of the largest exchanges in the country is a tectonic shift for Bitcoin, which has been associated with drug dealing and called a fraud by the chief executive of the nation's largest bank. But, because the futures are cash-settled, traders will receive dollars on the settlement date instead of Bitcoin. The street technically won't be getting its hands dirty by buying the stuff directly. There is a flip side: extreme volatility, operational risk, security challenges. NBC News President Noah Oppenheim said at a meeting with nightly news staff that Lauer would not be paid a penny more because he was terminated for cause. Oppenheim said Lauer had continued to lie about his UAL impropriety up until the very moment he realized he was caught red-handed. Oppenheim said NBC News chairman Andy Lack had confronted Lauer on Monday before meeting with the complainant. Oppenheim said, "Andy asked Matt point blank, is there any truth to this, and Matt said, no." Lauer did later own up when confronted with the damning account from his victim, plus the Ting evidence. More from Bloomberg: Flynn is now cooperating with Mueller, and as part of his plea deal he provided information related to Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, a sign that Mueller's probe is closing in on the president's inner circle. Why it matters: legal experts said Mueller may seek to use Flynn's testimony to build a broader case of conspiracy or obstruction of justice. Flynn told Mueller that he communicated with Russia's ambassador to the U.S. during the presidential transition last December about American foreign policy with the knowledge and direction of senior Trump associates, according to a court document. Flynn said that a very senior member of the presidential transition team asked Flynn on December 22 to contact Russian officials to help delay or defeat the UN resolution on Israel. The very senior member was Kushner, according to the people familiar with the events. Another person familiar with the push against the UN resolution said it was a collaborative effort. Flynn also said he reported back on December 29 to a senior official in the transition team at Mar-a-Lago on his conversations with the Russian ambassador. That official, according to the people familiar with the matter, is KT McFarland, now ambassador to Singapore, who was brought into the transition team and later the White House by Flynn. Sen. Bob Corker R10 was the only lawmaker to cross party lines, joining the Democrats in opposition. The measure focuses its tax reductions on businesses and higher-earning individuals, gives more modest breaks to others, and offers the boldest rewrite of the nation's tax system since 1986. And yet, this huge accomplishment, even many Republicans long doubted that the Senate would finish its version this year, will be a footnote in news coverage and the national consciousness blotted out by the massive new legal threat to the White House. Be smart. The White House talking point has been that special counsel Bob Mueller is running a narrow probe that'll be done by Thanksgiving, or for sure by the end of the year. With many choices for offenses that former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn could have pleaded to, Mueller picked the bullseye: Russia. Inside the West Wing, conversations by Jonathan Swan and me show there's anxiety and fear among Trump confidants. Flynn is clearly desperate, legally, personally and financially. He has been broken by Mueller. And he was at Trump's side during both the campaign and the first 3 weeks in the White House. No one knows what the decorated Army general will unload. And despite Flynn's credibility problems, Mueller clearly believes he has something substantial to offer, possibly going to the heart of the White House. NY Times quote of the day. Michael Flynn's statement: "I recognize that the actions I acknowledged in court today were wrong, and, through my faith in God, I am working to set things right." President Trump said he's not worried about what information Michael Flynn could tell special counsel Bob Mueller because what has been shown is no collusion, no collusion. He added, "There's been absolutely no collusion, so we're very happy." Why now? Yesterday, Flynn pleaded guilty to making false statements to the FBI, and it was reported that he was ready to testify against Trump, specifically regarding an incident in which Trump, as president-elect, instructed Flynn to contact the Russians. Go deeper: how the Russia probe closed in on Flynn. Why it matters if Jones wins the Senate seat in less than 2 weeks. The GOP will have only a 5,149 hold on the chamber, per WashPost. And the UAL harassment allegations against Moore have caused a split in the Republican Party, with many establishment lawmakers calling for him to step aside, while the president and Alabama's Republican Party disagree. Voters are split on if they believe the allegations, with 35% believe them, 37% saying they are unsure, and 28% saying they are untrue. Voters are split on the issue of abortion, with 47% trusting Moore to handle it well, compared to 46% trusting Jones. 0.78% of white evangelical Protestants support Moore, but the majority of other white Christians support Jones. More voters trust Jones to handle health care and gay and transgender rights than they do Moore. Various lawmakers, including Republican Sen. Bob Corker, who voted against the plan, Goldman Sachs, and Janet Yellen, the Federal Reserve Chair, have all separately warned that adding even close to this much to our national deficit would increase it to unsustainable levels. What they're saying, per NYT, but many of Corker's colleagues greeted them with distrust, both because they expected tax cuts to generate more robust economic growth than the forecasters projected, and because they felt burned by unflattering analyses of their healthcare proposals issued this year by the Congressional Budget Office. By the numbers Republicans initially estimated, the GOP tax plan would increase the U.S. deficit by $1.5 trillion, and a Joint Committee on Taxation estimate calculated it would realistically add $1 trillion. A Congressional Budget Office estimate said it would add $1.4 trillion. Go deeper: what's next in the GOP's tax reform push? Key takeaways out of the 59 times that the Grammy Album of the Year has been awarded, female solo artists have only won 15 times. Of those wins, just 4 have gone to women of color. Taylor Swift and Adele have both won Album of the Year twice. The inaugural Grammy Award ceremony included a black female solo artist nominee for Album of the Year, famous jazz singer Ella Fitzgerald. The first woman to win the honor was Judy Garland in 1962. The first woman of color to take home the award was Yoko Ono. She won as a duo with her husband John Lennon in 1982. The first black male solo artist to win Album of the Year was Stevie Wonder in 1974 for Innervisions. The first black female solo artist to win was Natalie Cole, daughter of two-time nominee Nat King Cole, in 1992 for her album Unforgettable. With Love. This year, the nominees include a woman, Lorde, and 4 men of color, Jay's, Childish Gambino, Bruno Mars, and Kendrick Lamar. Worth noting, the Grammys allowed voting for the first time this year, allowing its 13,000 voting members to weigh in on each award without mailing in ballots, The Washington Post reports. The change led to a larger number of total ballots cast by voters representing a wide range of backgrounds.